Greetings and well met, adventurers. Now, normally at this point, I'd be telling you about a new game I found and waffle on about why I love it and then show you about a model I painted. Well, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. So grab yourself a cup of tea, put your feet up, because it's going to be Peachy's story time. I'm going to tell you about a game called 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, and I'm going to introduce you to the first few parts of this game, like creating your characters and the first few turns of the campaign, all in the format of a story about Peachy the Unremarkable. So join me for story time. I'm Peachy, and this is Peachy Tips. Peach the Unremarkable was a farmer, a simple man who just wanted to grow crops and grow old. But that was never going to be his fate. He was destined for something else. One summer's day, a small group of adventurers arrived at Peach's farm. Seeking shelter, they told tales of great adventure and of a quest to rid the lands of Blackvale of the evil plaguing its borders. However, the party's local tracker had recently died in an ambush on the road north, and they desperately needed a new guide, and they would pay well. Now, Peach, being unremarkable, wasn't too excited by his proposition, but his roof needed new thatch, his plough was on its last legs, not to mention he owed Big Bill several gold marks for unclogging his lavatory for the 12th time this year. So it was that Peach, the Unremarkable, a farmer of questionable skill, set out on his perilous quest to help some random folks aid some random town. At least he could get a new roof, I guess. In 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, you'll need a party of 6 characters, 4 heroes and 2 followers. I will count Peach as a hero. I know, doesn't seem that sort, but we'll go with it. Now, first up, every character starts with the same profile. Then during the creation process of rolling up your characters, they'll get adjusted depending on what roles you make. Without going in too deep, agility determines when the character acts in a battle round. Speed is how far they can move, the second number being additional if they dash or run. Combat skill is their fighting ability or what numbers you'll need to add to the dice roll. And then toughness is, well, how tough or resilient you are. You'll need to roll this number or below to not become a casualty in the game. Next up is the race table. Here you roll to see what race you get. Now, I'm a human, well, I believe so. So I'm going to pick that for Peachy. It saves me rolling. Now we've got the background table. What we need to do here is select what background my character hails from. For humans, they have access to townsfolk, nobles, frontier, and zealots. As Peach is a farmer, I'm going to pick frontier. Now, each of these backgrounds has 4 tables to roll on. To start off with, I'm going to roll on the capabilities table, and here I rolled a toughness increase, knocking his toughness from 3 to 4. I mean, he is a hardy farmer, right? Then on the mentality table, I got a roll of +1 will and +1 luck. That was a pretty good roll, actually. Will allow extra benefits in the campaign. In a battle, will can give you extra movement or allow you to activate earlier than you would have rolled, or avoid being stunned. You can also use will to improve certain tests that require some form of proficiency. This could be like crafting or repairing an item that may have been damaged. Then you have luck, which is for post-game injuries. Each luck point could save you from a very grim fate indeed. Then we have the possessions table. On this, I rolled a fine basic weapon. I'm counting this as Peach's family sword, a hand-me-down blade from generations before. I don't imagine it's that good, but, you know, it's a sword, isn't it? Then on the training table, I rolled 1 XP. I guess he got a whirlwind beginner course in swordsmanship from his guests before they left. Now, when you've created the full party, you will get an additional amount of gear that you can divvy out amongst your party. Here, I'm just going to give Peach a light suit of armor right now because he's got a big leather hauberk jerkin on. Kind of makes sense, really. Now, over to the other characters. Leading this group of adventurers is Lady Kitty Galore, a warrior of feral heritage. She is seen as an outsider in most communities, but has proven her martial skills over and over, and leads this small company of mercenaries of the Whitewood Company. Joining Kitty on this quest is Archer, the Archer. A skilled marksman, though he is nearing retirement, this longbowman is incredibly agile for his age. Then we have Big Brenda. She is a disinherited noble of the dwarven city of Gold Peak. She doesn't speak much about her family's nefarious past, but strives now to do good and redeem her family's name. Well, at least hers. Then for our followers, we have the Scholar Martin, a learned man that follows Lady Kitty's group, helping out with finances as well as reading those big words in the contracts that the others just can't comprehend. And finally, Bob. Bob is a newer recruit to the company and has been sent along to learn the ropes. So far, he's acquitted himself well. With Peach making up the 6th member of the group, the party heads out to the lands of Blackvale. Blackvale is a large spit of land, and at its centre is the town of Blackvale itself, a large community built around the fortified manor of Baron Blackheart. He sounds friendly. To the west is the farming lands and village of Pickletown, where they make the realm-renowned Blackvale Piccalilli. a tasty condiment indeed. Then to the west is the trading hub of Stonewall, named so because it was built around a stone wall. Running alongside Stonewall is the Iron River, which runs from the Ironvale Mountains to the north all the way to the Great Sea far to the south. There are 2 forests within Blackvale, the Greenvale Forest in the south, and to the northwest is the Blackroot Forest. There are whispers of some strange malign fae folk residing within these dark and ancient boughs, and scattered around are several other locations yet to be discovered. When creating a region in 5 leagues, there are several steps and fun tables to roll on. These will determine the size and amount of settlements in the area, as well as what type they are. They could be trading hubs like Stonewall, scattered farming communities like Pickletown, or one of the many other options available. As well as rolling to see what additional points of interest there are, you also need to decide your starting point. Also in 5 leagues, you'll need to determine what sort of threats plague the land, as well as their camps and later their hideouts. For Blackvale, I've rolled the following. The ruin within. The surrounding lands are beset by brigands and bandits, possibly led by some dark power. The Iceheart Court, somewhere within the region there are forces of cruel elfkind and fey creatures. And finally the Faceless Kingdom. An invading army advances upon these lands, maybe to retake lost lands, or to wipe out the peoples of Blackvale. Peach and the Whitewood Company arrives at the southern border of Blackvale. At this point there are several options available to them. Travel to Pickletown to the west, head north to Blackvale, or explore the ruins near the Greenvale Forest. After several days on the road already, all members agreed that travelling to Blackvale, finding a tavern, eating a good and hearty meal, and sleeping in some soft cosy beds would be the most preferred option. As they make their way to the town, they stumble upon a traveller on the road, a very chatty herder to be more precise. Though most of what he said appeared to be local gossip about pickle prices, the party learned about a strange cave far to the north. Word has it an ancient beast lies within this cave. The locals now call it the Cave of Screaming Death. Maybe worth exploring after a beer and sleep, obviously. Saying their farewells to the herder, the party then arrive in town and easily find a tavern, known as the Honest Warmonger. The tavern owner, a boisterous fella that went by the name of Weasel G, was over the moon to see new patrons drinking in his beloved tavern. So much so, he offered free food and bed for the night at no cost. What a guy. After a good rest and a filling breakfast, the party spent the following day productively. Lady Kitty Galore, Martin and Archer head out to meet the locals, whilst Brenda and Malcolm continue to train up Peachy in his swordsmanship skills. Peachy earned himself some experience points here. I guess practice does make perfect, though they did spend about an hour searching for a sword at one point in a haystack after being disarmed for the 12th time in a row. And Lady Kitty's group yielded some very useful information and a contract off the local clergy. One of their priests has been abducted and taken prisoner by a bandit group known as the Pale Cross. They're believed to be holding the prisoner ransomed eastwards near the Iron River Bridge. Word has it these brigands belong to a cult led by a priest who now worships an ancient god of death. But that was all the information Lady Kitty was able to get. So it's a new day and a new campaign turn, and several choices present themselves to the party. Explore the unyet discovered location near the Greenvale Forest, head north to the Cave of Screaming Death, or locate and rescue the priest. As this contract needs to be completed within the next 2 campaign turns, and this could also yield more information regarding the Whitewood Company's mission in these parts, it's worth attempting now. So Peachy, Lady Kitty and her group head off with gusto along the East Road to rescue a priest in need and slay some bandits. As Peachy boisterously sings a ditty about milking bulls, the group is waylaid by a large group of bandits. These bandits are split into 2 groups. A group of 5 led by a vicious-looking sergeant are grouped around an old abandoned farmhouse, whilst a second and slightly smaller group of 4, led by a very confident man, make their way out the trees to the south of the road. What will happen to our adventures? Will Peach be able to finish his bull milking song? And will they get to the priest in time? Who knows? Join me next time as we learn more about how combat works, fight through this ragtag group of ne'er-do-wells, and hopefully survive to rescue the priest in distress. I hope you enjoyed this short, but hopefully entertaining introduction into the wonderful rule set that is 5 leagues from the Borderlands. I'm Peachy. Roll the Patreon credits.